Welcome to the podcast called The Battle for African Agriculture, where we're the lens of political economy to look at the future of African agriculture. My name is Million Belay. I'm the General Coordinator of the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. Today I'm joined by Françoise Uwumukiza. I hope I
Uwumukiza,
have got
Uwumukiza, you have tried very well.
Uwumukiza, a member of the East African Legislative Assembly representing Rwanda and a key voice in shaping regional policy on agriculture, food systems, and inclusive development. Honorable Uwumukiza has played a significant role in advancing legislative and policy work across the Eastern African community, including oversight, budget process, and regional integration. She previously served as a chair of the Committee on Agriculture, Tourism, and Natural Resources. She is also a Deputy Secretary General of the African Food Systems Parliamentary Network, working to align parliamentary action with continental priorities such as candid and the Kampala Declaration. Her focus spans agriculture, climate resilience, women's cross-border trade, and inclusive development, bringing regional and political lens to the question of how African food systems are shaped and governed. Honorable Uwumukiza, it's a real pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Million. It's my pleasure as well.
Thank you. Behind the policy roles, what drew you personally to issues of agriculture and food systems?
Thank you very much, Dr. Million. You know, I'm Rwandan, first and foremost, like you said. I didn't mention my nationality, but I come from Rwanda, a very strong background when it comes to gender equality and championship to support women. And born and grew up in Rwanda in that context, I quickly understood that women are at the heart, of our agri-food systems. And I'm saying this on the background of me having been the president or the chairperson of the National Women's Council in Rwanda, whereby I worked closely with women. Some of them were just farmers. And as I appreciate Rwanda's efforts, the government of Rwanda efforts, and building on our values and traditions, our culture, what we call cultural-based solutions or homegrown solutions. I understand that we cannot just leave just aside agri-food systems because this is about the backbone and the heartbeat of all our livelihoods. So this is why pushed me to support women and to be passionate, to be dedicated to the cause of women, especially that I passed through that women's lot. And when I became a member of parliament at the East African Legislative Assembly, that one was December 2017, I started at the very early stage by being a member of the Committee on Agriculture, Tourism, and Natural Resources for 5 years, just as a member, but not every member, because I was already involved in agri-food systems. That passion I already got from my country back home. I continued that way. So I was so supportive.
But do you come from a farming family, Honorable?
You know, when we say coming from a farming family, I may say yes, because my mom was a farmer. We didn't own big lands, but I have been close to my mom, watching her farming. So I had that passion. I could learn from her at the very early stage of my life. But we don't have big lands, and Rwanda being small, not many people have big lands. But that background, I have some component of it.
So you grew up eating your own food from your own farm.
Yes,
Maybe that's a connection
especially
for your.
bananas, fresh bananas.
Yeah, I'm so I'm taken out of a breeze, when I think about you and I watch what you are doing. You're an incredibly active person.
Thank
And one of
you.
the very few women that I know.
Thank you very much.
Honestly, honestly,
Appreciate.
very, very
I'm
much
humbled.
active and extremely, extremely passionate about agroecology. And I just want to know the source of all that passion.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Miriam. Let me just add something that is paramount for our audience. You know
Yes.
that if you used not to have something to do, like employed by the government or not self-employed, you were just a farmer. So it was a
Yeah.
meaning you have nothing to do. It
Yeah.
was written in Kinyarwanda, nzi. Nzi was the meaning umuhinzi. That is the meaning of
Mm-hmm.
a farmer. So it was to say, I have no job.
Mm-hmm.
So at certain point, my mom was nzi, that just a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And she was cultivating. She was trying to help us survive along with the job of my father, who was
Mm-hmm.
an employed, the agent of the government. But we
Mm-hmm.
survived and we were good. We were able to pass all our education. And my mom has been very supporting as a farmer that was called doing nothing.
Yeah, no, 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 no. That's I mean, who says that farming is not a job or a profession? But from your position at the regional level, Honorable, would you describe the current state of food systems in Africa, not in policy terms, but in terms that what's actually happening on the ground? How do you describe it?
What is happening on the ground is that governments, I appreciate the role of the executive in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Their efforts is really incredible. But what I have
Mm-hmm.
observed as the former chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture for 2.5 years is that
Mm-hmm.
there is a disconnect between the
Mm-hmm.
work of the executive, the work of parliamentarians, the work of support staffs, civil society, private sector. So there's really that disconnect I could observe. And without that, collaboration, we can't just
Mm-hmm.
reach out to what we want, to this food that is helpful, that is healthy, that is safe, sovereign for all of us
Mm-hmm.
and for our people. We serve citizens. We're not there for ourselves. East Africa is
Yeah.
people-centered and a community-driven approach or principle. So when
Yeah,
I
we'll come to that question. We'll come to that question, Honorable. But what I wanted to come to is on the ground, you are operating in Rwanda, in 8 African countries, in Eastern Africa, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, DRC, Tanzania, Burundi. What is left now? Somalia, I think now, So in this eight, what do you see the food system, the agricultural and other activities around the food system? How do you see it?
Yeah, what I see is that farmers at the ground are the most affected by climate change.
Uh-huh.
I want to put this at the early stage that climate change is real, even though some of the top leaders, like President Trump, say there is no climate change because he can't see changes, in their country, and they are. People are suffering, especially farmers. So when it comes to the
Mm,
East African community, it's real. Climate change is real, and farmers are not supported enough because at a
mhm,
certain point, countries don't have a choice. They don't have even anything to do because to mitigate the climate change, we need a lot of investment. And with these investments, we want to shift to change the narrative from what is, making farmers to not cope to what they can afford to cope. And this
mhm,
is our food sovereignty. It's the line of supporting them to own their knowledge. Like I said,
mhm,
coming from that background of my mom, being a farmer that side, he had a knowledge. That knowledge
mhm,
nourished us throughout. And
mhm,
now we want to bring this knowledge to all the farmers because now we have known without doing big research. But I appreciate after I have been reading it through your
mhm.
documentation, what you do, the knowledge you
Thank
are
you.
giving as AFSA research. I participated in the like study validation. We are doing a lot, and I understood on that background that we need to support the farmers
Mhm,
because what
mhm,
I can see, we are just stranded with the farmers as parliamentarians. We don't even have
yeah.
laws that are
Mhm,
adjusted to help them. So it's
mhm,
just a pity. And we need, like I
mhm,
said, these joint efforts. to work with the government, to work closely with private sector, with civil society, and you are part of civil society as Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa and the others I can't mention here. So I think this is what we need, but the field is really alarming, and it's alerting
Mm,
us for early warning, like mechanisms to tell them what is
mm,
going on. You know, Rwanda is going to Kenya when it comes to meteorology. If
mhm,
Kenya has nothing, in Rwanda we have nothing. So
mm,
I like these efforts to work closely as an integrated block. It is good. Integration is the power,
mm.
but it's not
Yeah,
enough by itself. We need to empower this
yeah,
integration process together as a team.
yeah. Okay, you have been part of advancing agroecology as a strategic priority at the regional level. What does it actually take to move agroecology from a resolution into a real practice?
This is a really an impeccable question you thought
Mm,
about, because coming from the background of parliamentary like networks and also alliances, we worked closely with the FAO.
mhm,
And the agroecology policy and motion or resolutions of the House we had were not coming from the clouds, Dr. Million, and the
mm.
entire audience. It came from like high-level recommendations, like CFS recommendations, and the panel of experts.
Committee on Food Security.
Yes, the World Committee
Yeah,
on,
under UNFAO. Yes,
yes,
it's
and
just for our
FAO.
audience,
Yeah, we were
Yes,
involved in
yes, I
that
know,
process
I
at
know.
the early stage. The
Hmm.
Committee on Agriculture, I appreciated the members of the committee that were active and supportive to these
Mm-hmm.
efforts, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And this means it's the entire collaboration of the world that
Mm-hmm.
agroecology is really an emergency solution
Mm-hmm.
to current, like a conventional agriculture. And
But
it's,
how now, as you know, Honorable, because of your effort and the efforts of your colleagues like Honorable Gideon,
yes.
it's on the verge of, East Africa is on the verge of producing a strategy, a regional East African Commission level strategy. So how do you make, from your previous experiences in other resolutions, how do you make this talk on the ground? It's one thing to have these kinds of regional or sub-regional frameworks, but it's another story to make it practical on the ground. So what do we have to do?
But as you know, the bill that is being now moved on or forward or enacted,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's a process.
Yeah.
When I talk of the process, we are at the stage of having it considered by the Committee on Agriculture now. The chairperson has it in, let me say his hands, together with the committee. They are looking into this because recently the House granted leave to the current
Hmm.
chairperson to bring
Hmm.
in that bill officially. It's not
Hmm.
yet in the House,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
our ideas, you know, our
Hmm.
reasons to have it as an emergency is already expanded because we are in support of like more than 30 organizations globally,
Hmm.
and AFSA is a part of them, and the
Yeah.
FAO is part of them, and the
Hmm.
others, those organic farming entities, they are with us. We are supported. It's also
Hmm.
something that is good, but we are now engaging civil society, private sectors to come together with us
Hmm.
to have this bill enacted and
Hmm.
translated into a law that will be enacted by the summit or assented to
Hmm.
by the summit. So you can understand how
Okay.
farmers are relying on us and excited to
Yeah.
have this law ahead of
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. Talking about farmers, small scale farmers produce most of food, yet they remain the least rewarded. From a policy perspective, what is structurally wrong with our markets?
You know what is going wrong? We're talking of the sovereignty part of it when
Hmm.
we have this conversation together. It's not to
Hmm.
bring in, like it's not work as usual. I'm happy to be here, but I want to say the problem with what is going on with our farmers producing food with a lot of efforts, a lot of resilience, is that they are not earning
Yeah.
according to what they are investing or they have invested with their
Yeah.
work. I'm saying this on the point of this bill we wanted to enact because we're not supporting farmers to take advantage of the value chain, you know, of the like added the value because the farmers takes like 100% of the climate and the labor risk, but received a fraction of the final price that is just minimum. And remember,
Yeah.
when we talk of agroecology, we are thinking of like organic food. So we are talking of premium. They are not taking advantage of the premium part of their work. Organic
Yeah.
farming should be given due attention and special treatment that is called the premium. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that let me say, the Council of Ministers, even the summit, they don't understand this side of it in the name of commercialization. They even, the council brought to the assembly a bill, the East African Community Plant and Seeds Variety Bill. And I read through it keenly. I was still the chairperson at that time when we received it. So I got time to read through it and I understood it's purely for commercialization. And having said this, we are ready to make sure this bill also has something of supporting the farmers, small scale farmers.
You mean the
Like the
agroecology bill?
farmer manage the seed systems. The one of agroecology, yes, is supportive. But how? How sure will we be treating a bill from the council that is talking of just commercialization with all of these big factories, big seeds companies, and
Yeah.
agroecology advocating for? It's a
Yeah.
dilemma, but we are ready to face it to support what is going on the ground.
Yeah.
So we are here to
It's very
support
important.
value addition, to support farmer selling processed goods, but in terms of also healthy citizen support, what we call consumer also support and
Yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
We are
Exactly.
ready for that.
Good. You worked on strengthening women participation in cross-border trade. What are the real barriers women face and what needs to change?
Women dominate informal cross-border trade when it comes
Yeah.
to the East African community.
Mm.
And you are all aware, even our audience is aware of that. They dominated
Mm.
that. There is a time I wanted to look into cross-border trade as a PhD topic. It was
Mm-hmm.
in 2018 toward 2019, but let
Mm-hmm.
alone due to COVID-19 outbreak,
Mm.
I couldn't
Mm.
do that. But I had looked into a lot of literature review.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, then I
Mm.
understood that the barriers women are facing are not just from that particular ground we're talking about or of crossing the borders. They are
Mm.
coming from our legislation,
Mm-hmm.
from the framework part of it.
Mm-hmm.
What we call, for instance, non-tariff barriers. Why should they face those ones when we are there to make sure we advocate for them? We are the voice of the voiceless. We have been
Mm.
dealing with non-tariff barriers, but we
What do
can
what
overcome.
that what
Yes,
does it mean? Non-tariff barrier. What does it mean and why is it a
yeah,
barrier?
yes. When we talk of non-tariff barriers, we are talking of like uh, for trade, especially for small-scale farmers, we have what we call trade facilitation that
Mm-hmm.
is helping them to cross the border without barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we say $2,000 consignment or of product for farmers, they have to cross without any barrier. They just
Mm-hmm.
ascertain about the value of the products and they allow them to proceed. But you will
If
find
it
out
is less than
that,
2000.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
no, from 2000, then less,
Mm.
not beyond. dollars per ad.
After that, they have to pay taxes.
They have to declare that, yes, they have to pay taxes.
So you
But
don't
you
want them to pay taxes.
yes.
Up to
So we
what
had
level or no?
sorry?
Up to what level? Is it no payment for women traders on border, or this 2,000 barriers is very little, so it has to increase probably?
Yeah, they are allowed to cross the border without going to the clearance agent.
Okay, okay.
Yes, yeah, there is the clearance agents, or they are there, and they have to ascertain about that product they are there, but they tell, please proceed without, like filling the papers or going to a single window, the declaration
Mm-hmm.
for, for just less than 2,000. But you might find
Mm.
that some women are not even aware of
Mm.
their privilege.
Yeah.
And then you might find, even if they are aware of their rights,
Mm-hmm.
some clearance agency will ignore them or
Mm-hmm.
bring the harassment.
Mm-hmm.
Women don't just have like those products, they have something else, especially men are willing to get.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean? And this will push women to go to be smugglers,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm.
know, to use
Interesting.
like
Yes, yes.
porous borders. Those are a part of
Yep.
issues of non-tariff barriers, I've been mentioning, or I earlier
Mm.
mentioned, and also some levies that could not be applied at that level that can be
Mm.
asked, and also issues related to
Mm.
exchange rates. Those are the things that I could identify when I was first of all, with women, but
Mm-hmm.
also from the literature review I read through, and from my experience as a member of parliament at the regional parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Thank you so
support it.
much.
Yes.
Another issue that's concerning the whole world, I would say, globally, and it's increasingly concerning Africa. To the point, the African news have decided to start a campaign on this issue, is the issue of UPF, ultra processed foods. So we are seeing a rapid expansion of UPF, ultra processed food, across African markets. Do you see this as a health issue or a governance and policy issue?
Ha. If I say it's not a governance issue, I will be lying
Yeah.
because I'm building my arguments from
Mm-hmm.
the experience and expertise I have in this domain. I
Mm-hmm.
attended the many meetings of farmers crying,
Mm-hmm.
saying, consumer protection is no longer in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we use like these pesticides, you know, chemicals, highly
Mm-hmm.
hazardous chemicals, we are not thinking of livelihoods of people. And who are the most beneficiaries of this? Not our farmers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the most beneficiaries of them.
Mm-hmm.
The big companies you
Yeah.
have been we just mentioned in this discussion, they
Mm-hmm.
are and the
Yeah,
million.
obviously.
You know what I learned
Mm-hmm.
through all these discussions? I learned that in Europe, through the European Union, in America, US, Congress, and others in France, they banned those highly
Mm-hmm.
chemicals, pesticides. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them, they take advantage of having those in their stores or from their shelves to sell them with our leaders. And our
Yeah.
leaders are not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
We want them just to open their eyes because we appreciate their work. We want them
Mm-hmm.
to open their eyes to avoid all of these chemicals that are coming that were banned. I appreciate the government of Kenya. They identified a list of 12 of highly
Mm-hmm.
hazardous chemicals, pesticides,
Mm-hmm.
fertilizers that should be banned with immediate effect at the East
Mm-hmm.
African community. And I
Mm-hmm.
think other countries of EAC can emulate or borrow a leaf
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
there to mention about this, to tell our government, please open your eyes. We know you can do that, but it's high time that it is done. Until it is done,
Yeah.
we are not you're not happy with that? What's going on with our farmers?
But as a parliamentarian, do you have a role to push for the I mean for the stopping of the importing of these chemicals?
You know, now we are talking from experience. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking. It's part
Mm,
of the high level advocacy we are doing, Dr. Million. And thank you for
mm,
this. And we have been doing this. You know, I follow your podcast for the Battle of
mm,
Agriculture. I follow, all the, your hosts.
mm,
And I'm happy because when you do this, you are adding on our efforts. We bring
mhm,
emotions. This emotion of stopping higher hazardous chemicals pass through the
mm,
house because you are also supporting like uh, waste is wealth approach.
mhm.
And it's also part of stopping these chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers that are not only harmful to our health as humans, but also making our soil to degrade, you
Yeah,
know. And sometimes it's
yeah,
irreversible. For a small
yeah,
country that is called adult like Rwanda, how do you think we will be able to survive if we continue to boost our soil with those chemicals?
yeah,
Soil degradable is a real problem and it is supporting climate change.
yeah,
And they are investing a lot of money to cope, to mitigate the climate change. And we continue to be against climate change mitigation by boosting our soil, with these chemicals. And then we eat them let alone. And the consumer
yeah.
protection, our supermarkets are full of harmful products and we're not doing anything. But the early
But
warning,
question
yes.
is, honorable, what is your constraint now to push for, you know, people-centered food system? As you have said rightly, this is company-centered or investment-centered food system, which not necessarily people-centered food system. So in your position as a policymaker, what is your constraint?
Our constraints, I earlier put it right,
Hmm.
is this lack of synergy between all, stakeholders.
Hmm.
I have said, the government is the most answerable or accountable to this
Hmm.
because us, we are not policymakers, we are legislators. But when we legislate, some of our recommendations are not even taken care of
Hmm.
the Council of Ministers. And this is as far as EAC is concerned. But you have also at the African level,
Hmm.
they are called member states for the AU.
Hmm.
We have a lot of legislation frameworks about banning higher, uh, hazardous pesticides, fertilizers, and even at the East African community, we have even a framework that is banning those things of SPS, sanitary and phytosanitary products. And it's about also avoiding all these chemicals. But the most issue is about implementation.
Yeah.
When
So
it
the
comes to
executive.
implementation is a
Hmm.
big issue. And I'm here
Hmm.
to urge the council,
Hmm.
even the country members of AU and the others to implement their commitments. It's not about the CADEP as a legislation.
Hmm.
It's about the implementation of CADEP, Kampala Declaration commitments. Everything
Hmm.
is there, is in place. And we're there to
Hmm.
advocate under our oversight role. And we'll
Hmm.
continue to do it. We'll continue to monitor the implementation of our
Hmm.
legislation.
Exactly. So that's one agenda, the issue of implementation. But how much are you or the policymaker process is influenced by corporate actors and corporate agenda?
This is about investment. I earlier put it. It's about investment When we
Mm.
talk of a bill that is coming on the council side for commercialization, it's
Mhm.
not bad to do trade. But what are you trading about? And what are the benefits of your people?
Mm.
This component is missing. There's a disconnect between the two. There's a paradox. The council trading, yes, we say yes, but
Mhm.
what? And then, and
Mm.
then the parliament advocating for the choice of farmers. Farmers should have choice between the
Yeah.
commercialization, what they sell, what they buy, and the quality of their products, their
Yeah.
seeds. What if they don't want to buy from Monsanto?
Mm.
They are humans and they also have their rights as farmers. The land is theirs. They should do
Yeah.
whatever they want with their land that is beneficial to their people. This is what we're
Yeah.
advocating for: farmers' choice, consumer
Yeah.
choice, and taste. So
Yeah.
when it comes to trading, it's disrupting the value chain we want as Africans. There
Mm.
is the Africa we want, but the value addition and the value chain we're having is pushing
Mhm.
us through shelves of Europe, shelves of France, shelves of US. Our kids are eating burgers mostly. They are eating
Mm.
KFC. KFC is
Mm.
US based, but it's in Kenya, it's in Rwanda, it's everywhere.
Mm.
And if you can see how our students, around here schools, they want KFC even if they don't have money. Some parents cannot afford. Those ones who
Mm.
can afford, they are in a conflict, in the schools.
Mm. Mm.
We want
Mm.
KFC. Parents say, no, we don't have money for that. But they don't understand even by eating a KFC that they are ingesting a lot of fat in their kids, even if it is
Yeah.
tasty, but it wasn't proved that it's safe.
Yeah.
Our food
No.
should be African. Thank you for that campaign.
Exactly.
That's
Our last question, Honorable. If you had to identify one political shift that's necessary to transform food systems in Africa, what would that be?
that one should be we are here as long as we can breathe. We have to make sure we support our tradition, way of eating.
I
We have
totally
to
am
make
with
sure.
you. Can you
Yes.
expand why? Why?
Let me
What's the
expand.
problem? What's the problem with modern food? Yes.
Because we have to stop the colonial master that it, remains with us quietly without talking much.
Mm.
This colonial
Mm.
master is really powerful. And we
Mm.
can see we are with that man or that woman because the colonial master doesn't have agenda.
Yeah.
And you are eating with that person every
Mm.
day, but eating from his own
Mm.
decisions and command.
Mm. Mm.
So I would like to appeal to African leaders to support their people, their citizens in eating well. And eating well is eating nutritious, healthier, safe,
Mm.
and sovereign food.
Mhm.
Having this sovereignty we have been talking about is making
Mm.
sure no interference with external like food, interference with external fertilizers, interference
Mhm.
with external chemicals, because we are able to produce our own organic products
Mhm.
and protect our premium that is being stolen by European shelves. When it
Mhm.
comes to avocados, like Hass avocado, you know
Mhm.
what is going on? They put criteria, you know?
Mhm.
If you don't observe, you lose everything. We
Mhm.
have like regulations that are coming from abroad that are impeding
Mhm.
on our growth as Africans, our
Mhm.
farming, forestry management, like
Mhm.
deforestation free regulation. Those are things that are avoiding our farmers to progress, and we want them to also harness the benefits, from what they are doing, not just harmful things,
mm,
not just crying,
mm,
and we're supporting also women in terms of
mhm,
being happy of their work. They are overloaded, the 24 hours working from farm.
mm,
What are they earning? We want them to take advantage of this, the premium part of it that is going to Europe, and
mm.
also to take advantage of consumer protection and the taste. And we're part of those ones, you understand?
Yeah.
Our
I
children.
mean, as a final reflection, Honorable, I always say to my daughter that if she knew the spices that my mother knew, the skill of our mothers, and I'm sure I don't know how much of the skill of your mother in cooking and identifying crops, spices, and animals. How to treat animals, how to save food, how to ferment food. How much of that is with you, and how much of what is with you is with your daughter. Because I feel that that this generation, the coming generation, is learning less and less and less of the tradition of food that we have in Africa. What would you say to that?
Thank you very much for this question. Actually, it's really touching.
Hmm.
And you have to make sure this legacy, the knowledge, indigenous knowledge legacy,
Mm. Yeah.
is, maintained and safeguarded to the generation to come.
Mm.
And I remember one day my mom passed a competition of cooking.
Hmm. Oh,
She was the
wow.
first
Hmm.
because she had put things at a traditional and cultural way of it. Whereas
Mm.
other women, some
Hmm.
of them were from the religious part of it, like Muslims. You know
Hmm.
how their stuffs are clean already.
Hmm.
Everything was clean, coming, modern things. But my mom won the competition because she showed us that Africans are not just dirty. What we lack is
Hmm.
that cleanliness at our kitchen and
Hmm.
also waste management. The way she
Hmm.
was able to show that you can just, uh, when you do the peeling of your potatoes, the way you cook them with, the entire part of them, the peel,
Hmm.
without, just like others were doing, you know. So I learned a lot from that practice, from that side of it, that we need to protect our culture, we need to protect
Hmm.
our history, our food,
Hmm. Hmm.
history, and
Hmm.
also the eating manner in our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, we used to even use banana leaves, and they were saying cooking in a pots that were like not, nowadays saucepans. The
Hmm.
food was even better, and even conservation of nutrients was
Yeah.
ensured more than current
Exactly.
saucepans we use. So I think
Exactly.
what
You're
we can
absolutely right.
call return to the grassroots. It's high time we go back to our
Mm.
grassroots and you
Yeah.
analyze the knowledge from our mothers and
Mm.
also especially grandmothers that most of them are no longer here. With
Mm.
genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, we can't talk
Mm.
of knowledge that is kept, but we still have some that you
Mm.
can protect to make sure you continue to eat
Mm.
healthy and also to eat
Mm.
food that you will be able also to to pass through our daughters. They are still young, others are
Mm.
getting married, but we're not doing
Mm.
anything to make sure we keep this legacy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Honorable. It's really appreciated. We had a lovely discussion. Thank you so much.
I think, yeah, you can create more opportunity like this that we can discuss and engage even more people. You can do this with a group of people, not
Yeah,
just one person. So,
I
so that you
agree.
can hear from various corners, various knowledge, and then we learn from you. And we take
I
this,
know.
we take it and we run with it to the
Yeah,
parliament and to the
I
world.
agree with you. I agree.
Yeah,
Maybe I
thank
will
you
come
very
with
much.
my recording to Tanzania, Arusha.
Yes.
Then we'll have a group discussion with all of you. That will be
Oh,
lovely.
wow.
With a
Ah, that's
number of
good.
you, yeah.
Yeah, bring it. Bring it. We are ready to
Okay.
make sure we Yeah, we are part of the discussions, and thank you very much for always including IARA in all what you do and for your support throughout. When I was the chairperson of the committee, I can't forget this, even through education and through member
Yeah.
support, at Mukono, everywhere. Ethiopia, now I know Ethiopia better because of AFSA and other members. I was with
Yeah.
Honorable Gideon in Ethiopia, the new chair, you know.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
good transition because of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Likewise, Dr.
Thank
Million.
you. Cheers.
Thank
Bye
you
bye.
very
Thank
much.
you.